Hi everybody, welcome back to Flames Pyro Art for Beginners. We're continuing on with our skull project. I'm using my medium space shader again, and I've got my settings still at 2.5. Just heating up the pen now as we speak. In the last episode we started shaping the skull, and so I just wanted to do a continuation of some more of the shaping work. This is some of the more basic shading techniques really, as we come to the side of the skull here. We're going down the side of the head and then we're curving over to the top of the skull, so we can show that curvature by shading. Always, if you remember from my teachings, burn low and slow, and what I'm looking to do here is move in the direction of the shade that I want to capture. Because if you think about it, as you're coming from the top and you're moving down the sides, you can add some shading, blend it out so you can make your curve of your skull. So this does take a little time. Let's say we work on a low heat setting for this, and we just gently building up from the side to the skull to the top of the head. And as you remember, all of it is going to go much darker yet. You know, for your final, to make it look really cool, obviously you go much darker. We think about it well here, this is the very back part of the skull you can see. So that is, we want to set that back by being quite dark. And as you do darken everything up, as you work through your piece, everything changes, all your values change. See here, if you're just trying to imagine in your mind's eye how the skull would curve. So all I'm doing is gradually, very lightly, building up this curvature. we'll do a quick half-an-hour video. Of working this side of the skull and trying to capture that more shape. Then if we're shading here to show a side, we must think about the whole of the shape of the side. So it's going in like sort of two directions, isn't it? It's coming forward, but it's also going upwards. Always start with just make your shading subtle so you can see how it's going, you know. Like so at this heat I'm not over committing myself to anything. If it ends up not looking quite right, I'm on a low enough heat to make my adjustments. So I'm always leaving myself room for manoeuvre. If we look on the colour photo here, on both sides we've got the skull going off. From pretty much around this sort of area of the eye socket. So for this side, I'll switch my board upside down. So I want to be getting at this from the right side, right in behind this main front socket. There's no light, so there'll be total darkness, and it'll be gradually easing its way out into the light that's shining on it. So that's where we blend. We can go really dark right up tight to it, and then gradually blend out lighter as it's coming further and further out into the light. Swing that back round for a minute again now. doing a dome shape, trying to shade to show a dome. So all your shading is going to be angled. I'll be doing downward strokes again, as if I'm trying to show a shape of a curve. I need to burn in the direction of the curve. My desk all of a sudden has started tweeting again. It's got a squeak somewhere. It's when you're doing skull art and stuff like this as well. Like I said, you don't have to burn the whole of the skull. There will be areas that we can leave untouched that will add to the effect. Remember that bit's going backwards round. This part is coming inwards and upwards. We don't want to make that too thick because we're just setting that as like the distance. You don't have to go like really far in with your shading. Just a thin band of darker will set that that's the far edge. Then just blend it out a little. Because we're working on a low heat, blending is really easy to do. Gradually, as you keep working the wood with your pen, it'll slowly start changing colour as you add more and more layers. The furthest away to be darker. In effect, what I'm trying to do is push that back. Then this part of the shading here of the curvature wants to be lighter than that. Now you've got this really dark piece in behind the eye, but after that you want to be lighter at the front and at the back. those who are really confident, you know, artists with an art background probably can work at higher heats than what I can. Like I said, these are all experiments. See what effects we get by shading in different ways. And then because this is the back, I'm not going like really dark, but you have to add a little band, you know, not just an outline, just blend the shading in a touch. It's sort of like outlining. But if you think about it, an object would have a solid, clean edge, wouldn't it? You know, at its far end. How long have we been going? Let me see. Clock. 19 minutes. We'll go for half an hour or so with this. Hopefully we should have some sort of effect in half an hour. And we need to show it's all curving up. You'll see as you go as well, you'll see when you're looking at your shading so far, you'll see areas where you think, no, that has to go darker. and everything just keeps adjusting as you keep layering up. You'll find everything, all the shading you've done, all gets adjusted, but gradually. In whatever machine that you're running, you will have like some sort of space shader like this, or a flat shader will work, and just have it just on the heat, so you just barely like sort of dirtying the wood, if you like. You're just putting a really light burn stroke on with it. And the secret is to keep going up over and over the layers, and you push the depth into the wood. And it will give the illusion then we'll time lapse some of this skull today, because I'm going to get all of the top of the head done today. We've got some more depth opportunities here. Either side of the eye socket. The eye socket does rim out, if you feel on your own head. You know, you're on your eyebrow and everything, there's a slight sort of raising into there. So on the front of the skull there's more opportunities to show the depth. Because while you work in the back, you've also got to think you've got to make the front look like the front. You can't forget, while you're shading all the back up, you know, there comes a point where you reach the front of the skull, wherever you set it. On this picture, if you look, it looks like it's around here is where the main front finishes. And a lot of these graphite lines are going to come out very shortly. think about where this nose socket is. If you look on the picture, it's dark in there. So that's where we're at the darkest point. We've got to build out to the light. So if you like, there's more steps, another ridge. And the other things we're looking for all the time is where's the ridge, where's the steps, where's the tiers, so we can show the depth and a bit more realism to the skull. The tablet does this crazy thing where it just makes that noise. It'll stop in a minute. Don't know what it's doing. It's a lot of emails or something catching up in junk boxes or something, I don't know. Here again is more of the curve of the other side. I don't know how well the camera will have picked this up, because it is subtle shading at the moment. But that in essence is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to switch you over to time lapse. I'm going to shape all the top of this skull up. So remember, just keep your heat nice and low when you're making your turns. Show the shading in the directions. Always move in the direction that you want to show your curve going in, or your direction. Always move your stroke in the direction of the shape you want to show to people. Okay, so I'll now switch you over to time lapse, and we'll get the rest to the top of this skull done, and I will revisit you once we get to the face of the skull. Okay, so I shall catch you all soon, Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Happy pyroing, and I'll hopefully see you in the next installment. Okay, bye for now.